Well, be it the border or gas prices, inflation, baby food shortages, the problem for Democrats come November's midterm election is reality. A year ago, that was a controversial statement. Now, it might be disputed by some Democrats. In fact, it was disputed by the White House chief of staff today. But the New York Times reports it as fact. They write, Democrats fight headwinds in Georgia and beyond. The problem is reality. Raphael Warnock and Stacey Abrams, viewed as strong candidates by their party, will be running against Biden's low approval numbers as well as their GOP rivals. In 4 of the most important Senate races, President Biden's approval numbers sit near record lows. In his claimed home state of Pennsylvania, Mr. Biden sits at 45. That's the highest, but we still don't know if John Fetterman will ask the president to come campaign in Ohio. Tim Ryan didn't show up for Mr. Biden's last speech in Ohio. Mr. Biden's approval rating in Ohio, 40%. In Georgia, Raphael Warnock faces a tough Senate race against an African-American Republican football star, Herschel Walker. President's approval rating in Georgia, 42%. And in Arizona, Democrat Senator Mark Kelly begged the White House to reconsider its immigration policies. They said no. In Arizona, the president is at 40%. Alayna Treene covers Congress and politics for Axios, joins us. Now, is there starting to be a split among Democrats on Capitol Hill, those who are ready to align with the president and those who view him as a liability for November?
Well, I'd argue yes, Leland, to be honest, and maybe not as many who will say that publicly, but definitely many who think that privately. And it is a huge issue. I mean, typically and historically, the president's party does lose seats in the midterms, but there's a lot stacked against President Biden and the Democrats right now. And a lot of it, obviously, the economy, a famous phrase, it's the economy stupid. That's going to be a huge issue in the midterms this year. You look at inflation, you look at gas prices, the war with Russia still raging. And it's going to be really hard for Democrats along party lines or further down the ticket to really make up those losses. And it's something that's been concerning for people across the spectrum, from progressives to the more moderate wings and those in more vulnerable districts. And from my conversations with many different people, there is this hesitancy to embrace President Biden, to run alongside him and to drop his name on the campaign trail, and rather instead focus on their district. I had a conversation recently with Congresswoman Susan Wild of Pennsylvania, and she said, you know, my voters really pay attention to what I'm doing specifically in the issues that I'm pushing. And she made it clear that that doesn't always align with President Biden. Right.
And progressives aren't really all that happy with him either. He hasn't pushed through some of the issues that they care most about. You're thinking about criminal justice, some of the environmental issues, student debt. And then you've got those in the center, Joe Manchin, who took his one of his cabinet secretaries to task over oil leases today. You've got other members of Congress very upset over baby formula and the like. Those are sort of the policy issues. But I'm thinking about also the way the president and his staff is approaching the pain the American people are thinking. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, I hate to spoil the narrative, but this poll shows POTUS approval rating moving up and solid public confidence on the 2 biggest problems he inherited, COVID and jobs. He retweeted an Axios tweet, a tough Biden poll from CBS. 69% say economy is bad. 65% Biden is slow to react when issues arise. 63% describe state of the country as uneasy and worrying. But yet the White House is saying, oh, no. Other than that, the play was great, Mrs. Lincoln. Are Democrats frustrated more with policy, or are they frustrated more with this style from the White House?
I think it's a mix. On policy, for sure, there's a ton of frustration. I mean, the Biden administration and Democrats promised, both when he entered office, but also throughout all of last year and into this year, that they would pass these bold, progressive packages like Build Back Better and some of the other packages that they've been pushing, and they've failed to do that. They haven't been able to get the votes to make good on those promises. So that's been one massive frustration among different Democrats within the party. But as for posturing, it is similar. I mean, we've seen President Biden, again, have these famous gaffes now throughout the campaign trail. And also sometimes this unwillingness to address some of these issues head on. That's something that a lot of Democrats have said, that they really think that the Biden administration and the president himself needs to be very clear about the issues and the pain that a lot of Americans are feeling across the country. So it's definitely a mix of the rhetoric and the policy.
Yeah, there was the soundbite of the president today in Japan talking about how we're going through this change with fossil fuels to clean energy. But, oh, by the way, there's also pain at the gas pump. The other part of this has been go into campaign and attack mode by President Biden. Here's him describing Republicans. Take a listen.
And what did the MAGA crowd want to do? Under my predecessor, the great MAGA king. Ultra MAGA agenda is the Ultra MAGA plan. Ultra MAGA Republicans.
If you are Raphael Warnock in Georgia, Mark Kelly in Arizona, Tim Ryan in Ohio, don't you need at least some people who voted for President Trump to vote for you if you want to win?
Yes, for sure. For those candidates in particular in those really tight battleground races, they will. And it is difficult. What the president is obviously trying to do is to continue to make these elections a referendum on former President Donald Trump. It's unclear if that's going to do it in 2022, particularly when Donald Trump is not on the ballot. But it's something that really does energize Democrats, and it's something that the Biden administration, we have reporting, is hoping will carry through into the midterms. But it's going to be difficult in a lot of these races where, again, Donald Trump is not on the ballot, and most of the time in these midterm elections, it's a referendum on the president, if not the candidates themselves. And so it's going to be a hard sell to continue to push that.
Yeah, well, thank you for peeling back the curtain, Alayna. It's good to see you as always. We appreciate it. Keep up the great reporting. We read it every night in Axios Sneak.
Well, thank you so much, Leland. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.